Yo, what's going on guys? It's your boy Apophis here and welcome back to a brand new video on Apophis Tech and Reviews. And before me is the almighty Tudor box. Yes, you can read it right here. I bought another watch. So before we get into this video and into the review of this watch, a quick backstory on how I discovered this watch. The first time I ever saw this watch, not in person, was on video on YouTube, and it was on the Bruce Williams channel. And he has the exact same model, but with a black dial instead of the dial that I went for. Now, a quick overview on how I discovered this watch. So like I said, I saw it online on YouTube on the Bruce Williams channel, and I was amazed on how well executed this watch was. And I've been eyeballing on this watch for over 3 months, looking at the pictures on the internet. But you know, never buy a watch solely on the pictures you see on the web. Because like the person said in the boutique, the sales assistant or the salesperson that sold me this watch, seeing a watch, a luxury watch in person is much more, how do I say it? It has a luster, the lighting is perfect, and it's something you cannot do on the internet, especially with these type of watches. Like the colors, the flare, you will see it in this video. Now, as well, I'm recording this with a camera, so the colors of this watch, it might not be the same as it would be in real life. So if you're interested in this watch, go to your local Tudor official retailer and look or ask them if they have this watch and to see it in person, because if you hold it in person, it's gonna be a whole lot different than seeing it on a review on YouTube like this one, or seeing it on their website. It's a completely different experience. Now, I have watched some YouTube videos and I didn't see many reviews on this watch. It's not as popular as, for example, the Black Bay 58 or the Black Bay GMT or the Pelagos. It is a watch that's very underrated, and I don't understand why, because this watch is as good as the Black Bay 58. It's just a total different approach on modern style. So quick wristwatch check. I'm wearing the Longines Hydro Conquest in black ceramic right now on my wrist. Beautiful watch. I'm still very happy with that purchase. But without further ado, let's review this Tudor. Let's flip the camera and let's take a closer look at this watch. So, for those who are new to the watch collecting world, Tudor is basically the younger brother of its more expensive sibling, Rolex. They both are started by Hans Wilsdorf and they still are both owned by the Hans Wilsdorf Foundation, which is a charity, apparently. I didn't know that. But besides that, you will see a lot of resemblance from Rolex models in the past and from Tudor models in the past that have made this watch possible. So, yeah. You know, the thing is with Tudor, it always was looked as the poor man's Rolex. It was just a Rolex if you cannot afford a real Rolex, if you know what I mean. But to be described in modern day Tudor as a poor man's Rolex is just cutting every people that are black as criminals. It's not right to do, you know? It means you're not well educated. Tudor is trying to be its own brand, especially in the last couple of years. They're trying to identify themselves as a separate brand. If you want a Tudor, then buy a Tudor. If you want a Rolex, don't buy a Tudor, because Tudor is not trying to be a Rolex. It's not trying to be an affordable alternative to a Rolex, but it has some inspiration to its bigger brother, Rolex. Now obviously, because two companies work together, the two companies are named and owned by the same family and the same group, so you will obviously see some elements, but I don't see a Rolex when I'm looking at this watch. Now, without further ado, let's unbox this watch. Now, I've obviously seen this watch in person and I've, you know, worn it, its size to my wrist. So the thing is with luxury watches, it's all about the feel, the packaging, and I do think that Rolex/Tudor does a great job in packaging. Now obviously there are better brands out there with packaging like Audemars Piguet or Vacheron. They go a little bit over the top. Now of course Vacheron and AP are like 3 times more expensive as Rolex, so obviously you cannot expect just that's what. Now there we go. And you get this beautiful I mean, beautiful packaging. So this is the box, and bum ba bum bum. Yes, I bought the Tudor Royal 41 S&G steel and gold with the mother of pearl dial. And honestly, on camera, the color of the gold, like I said, this is a watch you gotta see in person. Every gold model, whether it's a Rolex, an AP, a Patek, a Tudor, it doesn't matter. If it has precious metal on it, you gotta see it in person, because, you know, the way the watch plays with the light, the way the gold plays with the light, it's something you cannot recreate on camera or on photos or on, as hard as you might try, some details will always be left out. So like I can see on this camera, the gold is much lighter in tone on the camera than it is in person. Like, this is solid 18 karat yellow gold. So the bezel on the watch is made out of 18 karat solid gold. The crown on the watch is made out of solid 18 karat yellow gold. And unfortunately, the links are not. The links are 18 karat gold wrapped. So it means that a thick layer of gold is actually applied on the links. So the links are not solid 18 karat yellow gold, but they have a thick layer of 18 karat yellow gold to give the same effect, but to keep the cost down of this watch. Now, keeping the cost down on this watch is still quite an expensive watch for modern days. You can buy a Breitling for this time, for this type of money. You can buy a Tag Heuer for this type of money. Not that I would recommend buying a Tag Heuer, but okay, fine. If you like it, you just buy it. And that's what the same thing that I did with this Royal 41. So let me get this watch out of the box, and let's get the box out of the way. But before I do, I'm gonna show you what it comes with. Now obviously this is my receipt. I'm not gonna show you that because you might probably get sick of the price tag. So what you get with the watch is obviously your model number. There we go, let's zoom in. This card, your model number, and then of course your date of purchase and serial number I cover because that's important. And you get these two booklets, guarantee booklet, and obviously something I do not know. Sorry. Now, in this cabinet, you find your extra spare links. So I had 5 links removed because I have a very small wrist. As you can see, like, this is a 40mm Longines Hydro Conquest, and this is already stretching it. I do admit that this Royal 41 is a little bit too big, but, you know, it kind of goes through. And I do like bigger watches in general. I like my watch to be a little bit bigger than my wrist just because I prefer some heft on the on my wrist. I do not like watches that are lightweight, and that's why I never buy a watch that is titanium, because I do not like the light feel of a mechanical watch. It feels cheap, even though it's not cheap, but you know what I mean. Anyways, now let's go back to this gorgeous Tudor Royal 41. Okay, I'm gonna put it off this pouch. I'm gonna put it on my wrist. There we go. Let's take off the Longines. Let's put the Longines on the table. And let's strap on the beautiful Tudor Royal 41. Now look at this. This is absolutely stunning, and I have no words for it. Like, the finishing on this watch, even though it's a Tudor, you can see some resemblance of Rolex and their finishing. Like, even though that this is their entryway into Tudor's catalog, because this is actually the entry-level watch, and with entry-level, I mean a couple $1,000s. But the reason why Hans Wilsdorf decided to start Tudor is because he wanted his watches, his Rolex watches, to be more accessible to the modern public. Not that everyone can buy a watch like this, but I'm just saying that it's much more affordable than its Rolex counterpart. If you want a watch like this, It's gonna be in full 18 karat yellow gold, and you know it has a day-date complication, so obviously it has inspirations from the Rolex day-date 40, especially with the yellow gold bezel. It's not fluted, it's a fluted bezel, but it's different than the Rolex fluted bezels. Now obviously the bracelet is inspired by the AP Royal Oak, obviously with the integrated design going from small to big, like, yeah. And what I also see when I see this case, the case is definitely Rolex Oyster Quartz 1980, 1990s, which was Rolex's first ever and only quartz movement. So a lot of people think that Rolex never produced a ticking watch, but that's not true. There is one model, or two models I believe, that had a quartz movement into it, because Rolex followed the hype of the quartz crisis and jumped onto the train and produced the Oyster Quartz, which has a couple different models, but most of them are precious metal, solid precious metal. Now this is steel and gold. I love this watch. The reason why is because I can dress it down. I can wear it with a jeans and a t-shirt, or I can dress it up with a suit or with a, and it will always look the part. And that's the reason why I didn't go with the full steel model, because the full steel model is a lot cheaper than this one. I think it's about $1,000 cheaper, but still, you get that heavy weight of precious metal, and you know, it's something that cannot be replicated. Like a lot of watches, when it comes to replicas, when it comes to Rolex replicas, the reason why people only buy stainless steel replicas 1-to-1 is because, you know, it's hard to fake gold. The tone, the luster of real 18 karat yellow gold is super hard to fake, let alone rose gold. It's so hard to get the same effect. They will never be the same color as the real deal. And that's why I never recommend on buying replicas. I mean, I did it in the past, but that's besides the point. We all start somewhere, and you know, you can waste $500 or $600 or even $1,000 on a good replica Rolex or AP or whatever, but you can buy a nice Longines Hydro Conquest for a little bit more than $1,000 that has the brand history, that has the heritage, that has the craftsmanship of Longines. So why would you spend $1,000 on a replica Rolex while you can buy a real Longines which has a better finish quality, which has an amazing history through the brand? And the same goes with Tudor. Like, if you cannot afford a Rolex, buy a Tudor. But if you really want that Rolex, don't buy a Tudor. I see so many people who ask me, like, is the Tudor, or is a Tudor watch a great alternative to a Rolex? I'm saying no. If you really want that Rolex, then save up your money and buy that Rolex. Now, obviously, I mean, it's easy for me to say because, you know, I have a lot of watches, but I'm just saying that Tudor is trying to be its own thing, right? So we gotta respect that. We gotta respect the brand for what it is. To say that Tudor is just trying to be a Rolex, that's not true. Tudor is not trying to be a Rolex. It's trying to be its own identity. And with this Royal, I do believe that this watch is more unique than any Black Bay 58 you can buy right now. The Black Bay 58, it's just overrated in my opinion. I could have bought the Black Bay 58. When I went to Leuven to George Jewelry, I had a decision to make. I was picking between this Tudor Royal 41, the Black Bay 58 in blue ceramic, and of course the Omega Seamaster Bond Seamaster 300 diver in blue ceramic. Now, don't worry, I didn't buy the black or the blue ceramic Seamaster, but I have put myself on the waiting list for the Bond Seamaster 300 in green ceramic, because I really want to see that watch in person before I decide to pull the trigger on that watch. Now, obviously, it's twice as expensive as my Tudor, so I'm probably not gonna do it just yet, but I do have interest in that watch. I love green, so let me show you my beautiful Certina. Yeah, this watch, that green it's something different, you know? When looking at green watches, everyone has a black watch, everyone has a blue watch, but not a lot of people have a green watch, and the color of green is just so elegant, so, I don't know, it's something different. And I have a couple green watches in my collection, like the Certina, like this Seiko Presage cocktail timer. Oh, and that dial. For $500, that dial is, it's gorgeous. Like, this is the Mockingbird Seiko Presage. It's made in Japan, in-house Seiko movement, hackable, quick set date. I never saw a watch that is so gorgeous for the money. Like, obviously you would expect a couple $1,000 watch to be finished well, but for a $500 watch you would not expect the dial to be this good. Like, anyways, I'm blathering besides the point. So the Tudor 41 S&G. Yeah, I do believe this is a gorgeous watch. And yes, I do believe it's worth every single penny that you pay for this watch. And especially with a date complication, it's so handy. Now, obviously, you don't have the month, but if you really want a full calendar, you go with an annual calendar or a perpetual calendar, but you don't expect. Tudor doesn't have a perpetual calendar. Tudor doesn't even have an annual calendar. But if you really want a watch that can read day, date, month, year, and distinguish a leap year between the normal years, yeah, you gotta go with a perpetual calendar. But perpetual calendar watches are expensive. They go from $10,000 from the Frederic Constant High Life perpetual calendar for $9,990 to, Patek Philippe, which asked $500,000 for a perpetual calendar. I'm just saying that, you can go crazy with expensive watches. So if you really, for most people, a $500 watch is very expensive. But I'm just saying that you can easily outblow that budget, and there are so many more expensive watches in the world, so many more magnificent watches in the world that, you don't necessarily have to buy, but you can find them beautiful. There's nothing wrong with not having the money to buy, for example, a luxury timepiece, but you can find them beautiful. There's nothing wrong with being a watch enthusiast. If you don't have the money to buy a watch like this, then I wouldn't recommend going into debt or going after a loan to buy your timepiece. I would recommend saving up that money and only buy these type of timepieces when you really have nothing else to spend your money on. I'm just trying to say this because they're fun things, but they cost a lot, and you do what you want, right? If you really want to get a loan, like for example, it's your birthday and you want to say, yeah, I really want my first ever luxury watch and I want to spend $3,000, $4,000 on a watch, and you don't have that, but you can pay it back in like 2-3 months, then I would probably say you should get no, I'm not gonna say you should get a loan. To buy these things, it's a luxury thing. You don't buy it with a loan. I'm just saying, you buy a house with a loan, you buy a car with a loan, or lease it or something. I do understand those things, but for a luxury watch, I do not understand that people borrow money from the bank to buy watches like that. Now, obviously, it's your choice if you want to do that. I'm not gonna say anything to that, but I'm just gonna. Never mind. I'm rattling too much. So this was my quick review on the Tudor Royal 41. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I'm definitely gonna wear this watch in a lot of videos up to coming because I just adore this watch. It's one of my favorites in my collection. I have a couple more. I have this one is also very nice. For those who start, when people ask me about watches and say, do you really have to spend $500 on your first mechanical watch? And I'm saying no. If you really want a nice mechanical watch, then Seiko is the way to go. For example, this was my first ever mechanical watch, the Seiko 5 39mm SNLK in this gorgeous blue. It's just, that's the thing with Seiko dials. Like, they don't cost a lot of money. Okay, they're not hand painted, they're not hand crafted like the Grand Seikos, but obviously for that price you cannot expect that. It has a mechanical movement that costs more than a Michael Kors quartz watch, and it's cheaper than a Michael Kors quartz watch. I'm just saying, like, people who buy designer brand watches like Gucci, Michael Kors, you know that these watches cost like $5 to make, and you pay for the MK on the dial or the Gucci on the dial. With these type of watches, you pay not only for the brand's name, but also for the mechanical complexity, even though these are not as accurate as your smartwatch or your phone. Like, let's be honest, we don't buy watches like this to be accurate. We don't buy them to be the most accurate time display, but it's more of a jewelry piece, just like rings, just like bracelets. It's more of a jewelry kind of thing than to read the time, because most of these mechanical timepieces, including this one, that costs thousands of dollars, like, they're less accurate than any smartwatch on the world. But who is gonna compliment you on a smartwatch? Let's be honest. It's you know, I will leave this in the middle. Like, if you really want, if you love smartwatches, I do not like smartwatches. I think they're I like to be cut off from the internet once in a while, because I use my phone too much actually. And yeah, this is a way for me to read the time but also be elegant and classy. You know, it's something, you know, yeah, it's a totally different world. And like they said, watch collecting is a total different world, and having the opportunity to do this is already an amazing privilege. So I hope you liked this watch. I hope you liked this video. Please leave a like, a comment on what watch I should get next. I'm thinking about the Omega Seamaster, the Bond Seamaster 300 in green ceramic. Now obviously it's gonna take a couple months before I decide to pull the trigger on that one. Doreen said, the sales manager at Tudor Royal said to me that they will probably receive the Bond Seamaster 300 in green ceramic around June, July-ish. So I will definitely walk by the shop to check that watch out. Not necessarily to purchase the watch, because I always want to think first before I spend so much money on a watch. But you know, we'll see. I'm not certain yet that I'm definitely gonna buy that watch, but I just want to see that green. I want to see that green. But anyways, thank you for watching this video. Please like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications, and I'll see you in the next video.